Hello everyone. In this session, we are going to have a look at the format of the micro instruction. You know that we have already designed a control memory which is of a size 128 words. In each word, we are going to have a micro instruction. The size of the control memory is 128 words and each word size is 20 bits. That means that one micro instruction size is 20 bits. On the other hand, we should also understand the instruction format of the CPU. You know that the CPU holds the 16-bit instruction. As we are designing a simple microprogrammed control unit, what we do is we are going to slightly modify our instruction format. In the earlier case, our instruction format has 1 bit for the mode, 3 bit for the opcode, 12 bit for the address. In the redefined instruction format, we do have 1 bit for mode, 4 bit for the opcode, and least significant 11 bit for address. That means that we do have a main memory which is equal to 2 power 11. In the previous class, we have discussed about this. Once again, the actual instruction format that we have already designed in the previous classes was 1 bit for the mode, 3 bit for the opcode, and 12 bit for the address. In the redefined instruction format, we do have 1 bit for the mode and 4 bit for the opcode and 11 bit for the address, which gives us a total of 16 opcodes, and the total main memory size is equal to 2 power 11. It is not 2 power 12. 2 power 11 is 2048. So our main memory size is equal to 2048, and the CPU does support a total of 16 machine language instructions that are opcodes. Now, this is our regular instruction format, rather the modified instruction format. Now, when it comes to the micro instruction format, you know that size of the micro instruction is 20 bits. Why? Because one word in the control memory is equal to 20 bits, and each word is going to accommodate one micro instruction. So, what is this micro instruction format? In what way this micro instruction is going to get divided? Let us have a look at. These are the fields in micro instruction. A total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fields we do have. Let us have a look at F1, F2, F3. The first 3 fields are opcode fields. Next 2 fields are branch fields. We are going to understand clearly. And the least significant 7 bits are the address field. We will have a look at what it is. The control memory size is equal to 128 words, with each word is of 20 bits, which means that we do have a 7-bit address and 20-bit word. And here we do have a 7-bit address starting from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, ending with 1111, 111. So all the locations can be addressed by using 7 bits. Now, let us have a look at this 20-bit instruction field, because one word is going to hold one instruction, one micro instruction. The micro instruction is of 20 bits, which is primarily divided into F1, F2, F3, CD, BR, and address. F1 is equal to 3 bits, F2 is equal to 3 bits, F3 is also equal to 3 bits, and CD, the condition field, is equal to 2 bits, BR is equal to 2 bits, and address is equal to 7 bits. Let us examine what are these fields all about. F1, F2, F3 are the function fields, rather the opcode fields. This F1, F2, F3 are going to specify some micro operation that is needed to be performed within the instruction. So every micro instruction can contain a maximum of 3 micro operations. We will have a look at this micro operation in this session in a short while. There are initially we do have F1, F2, F3. Each of these field is going to represent one micro operation. We'll understand those micro operations in a short while. I'm going to show you all the micro operations. Stay focused. This CD and BR are actually the branch fields, in which CD field is for condition, BR is a branch field. If you want to take a branch, you need to satisfy the condition. Mind you, in the previous classes, we have discussed that even an unconditional branch also will get treated as a conditional branch. For that, we are going to watch a flag which is always set to 1, right? So this CD is equal to 2 and branch is equal to 2 bits, in which 4 conditions can be specified, 4 branches can be specified. Again, we'll have a look at what are the 4 different conditions, what are the 4 different branches. And the least significant address field is going to specify 7-bit micro instructions address in the case of a branch. You know that our control memory is addressed with the 7 bits. Let us say this instruction want to take a branch. That branch address will be specified in this address field. Okay. If there is no branch, this address field is going to specify simply the next address. Once again, this address field is going to specify a branch address whenever this micro instruction is going to take a branch. If the corresponding micro instruction is not going to take a branch, then this address field is going to hold the next subsequent instruction's address. For an example, if this instruction is going to take a branch, least significant 7 bits is going to hold the branch address. Let us say 23. This instruction wants to take a branch to 23rd location within the control memory. In that case, least significant 7 bits are going to specify an address field. Otherwise, if this instruction doesn't want to take a branch, doesn't require to take a branch, this least significant 7 bits will simply specify the next micro instruction's address, that is 1. Okay, I hope you got it. This is 0, this is 1, this is 2. Once again, the 0th instruction, if it required to take a branch, this least significant 7 bits are going to hold a branch address. Otherwise, every instruction is going to specify the next micro instruction's address, because obviously the moment this instruction gets executed, the obvious branch that has to be taken to the next address, right? This is the logic of branch. Let us have a look at what are the different conditions and the functions that are available within the control unit. Here you can see the computer instruction format is slightly modified. Least significant 11 bits for the address, because our main memory has 2 power 11 right now rather than 2 power 12. 0 to 10, the total main memory is of 11 bits rather than 12 bits, because our main memory is equal to 2 power 11. And the opcodes are in between 11 to 14. Altogether, we do have 4 opcode bits, which gives us a total of 16 opcodes, with each opcode having a corresponding micro routine within the control memory. And obviously, the most significant digit is for the indirect addressing mode if it is equal to 1. Otherwise, it's the direct addressing mode. Okay. And the micro instruction format has been divided into F1, F2, F3, CD, BR, AD. All these 3 are going to specify some micro operations, so that one micro instruction is going to specify a maximum of 3 micro operations within it, in addition to the condition and a branch field. We're going to have a look at what are the different conditions available, what are the different branches available within the system. F1, F2, F3 are the micro operation field, CD is the condition for branching, BR for branch field, and AD for the address field. Let us have a look at clearly. These tables are going to specify various micro operations for each field. This is for F1, this is for F2, this is for F3. Okay, in F1, again, mind you, F1, I do have 3 digits. The combinations for 3 digits could be from 000 to 111. Similarly, F2 and F3 also 3-bit fields. With each field is going to specify some or the other micro operation as given in the table. In the F1, 000 meaning there is no operation. 001 stands for it is for addition. An addition operation is going to be performed. The ALU is going to perform an addition operation. Once again, let us have a look at this table. This table corresponds to F1 field. In the F1 field, if we have 000, that means that there is no micro operation performed. In the F1 field, if you have 001, then addition operation is going to get performed in the ALU in between accumulator and data register. You know that every time when an operation has to be performed, that operation should always be in between accumulator and data register. So data register and accumulator contents will get added, will get transferred to the accumulator. If the F1 field is 010, then accumulator contents will get cleared. That is, 0 will get transferred to the accumulator. Despite, regardless of the previous contents of the accumulator is going to receive as 0. When it comes to 011, accumulator will get incremented. If it is 100 in F1 field, data register contents will get transferred to accumulator. If it is 101, data register least significant 11 digits will get transferred to the address register in order to locate a specific address in the main memory. You know that the data register also works as an instruction register. Initially, it is going to hold an instruction. In the lateral part of the instruction, it is going to hold a data element. So when it holds an instruction, least significant 11 digits are going to specify one memory address. Which memory address? The operand's memory address. For an example, the instruction, once again, let me tell you, instruction is add 24. Okay. So this 24, which is in the least significant 11 bits, is going to specify a memory address in which the operand is available. Now let us say this is instruction register. You know that the data register functions as both instruction register as well as the data register. In the initial phase of the instruction cycle, it is going to act as an instruction register. In the lateral phase of the instruction cycle, it is going to act as the data register, because the moment instruction register operation has been decoded, the opcode has been decoded, we don't require this instruction anymore, because we already knew what is the specific operation needed to be performed by this instruction. So in the lateral course of the instruction cycle, this data register is going to hold a data operand. So when it works as an instruction register, initially it is going to hold an opcode and the address part of the operand. Again, this address must be located within the main memory to fetch the operand. But instruction register cannot locate the addresses within the main memory. For that, we need to transfer this address part to the address register. So when it holds an instruction, it also holds a data operand in the form of an address. At that time, in order to locate this specific address in the main memory, this address must be transferred to the address register, since the address register is the only register that can locate the addresses within the main memory. So if the 3 digits are 101, if the first F1 field is 101, then the contents of the data register, the least significant 0 to 11, will get transferred to address register. 110, simply the program counter will get transferred to the address register. You know that during the fetch routine, the first operation that is going to be performed is transferring the contents from the program counter to the address register, since the program counter holds the address part of the next instruction. In order to get that instruction from the main memory, program counter value must be transferred to the address register, since the address register is the only register that can communicate with the main memory. 111. Data register to memory. This is the write operation. You know that every time when you want to send an information to the main memory, initially that must get transferred to the data register. In the previous class, I explained you about the data register. Data register is the only register which can either hold the information that has been accessed from the main memory, or it is going to hold the information before it gets transferred to the main memory. So when we have 111 in the F1 field, that means that a write operation is going to be performed. What is the write operation? The data register's contents will get transferred to the address which is specified by the address register. Let us say address register value is 240 and the data register contents is 1100. Then in the F1 field, if you have 111, immediately in the main memory address 240, the content of 1100 will get transferred, 1100 will get transferred. This is what write operation. During the write operation, the address which is specified by the address register, the data register contents will get transferred to the memory location. This is what the write operation is all about. Similarly, when it comes to F2, 000, it doesn't perform any operation. If it is 000, there is no operation. If it is 001, it is subtraction. What is subtraction? The contents of the accumulator will get subtracted. Rather, the contents of the data register will get subtracted from the accumulator. Final result will get transferred to the accumulator. When it is 010, this is OR operation. The contents of the accumulator will get ORed with the data register, and finally the contents will get transferred to the accumulator. When it comes to 011, an AND operation is going to be performed in between the contents of the accumulated and data register, and finally it gets transferred to the accumulator. If it is 100, we are going to perform a read operation. How the read operation is going to get performed? It is against to the write operation. In contrast to the write operation, a read operation will get performed. Let me explain you. Okay, let us say address register holds 240. Use another example in order to make the things very clear. Now, the address register holds 120. The data register has some X value, let us say. Okay. During a read operation, this address which is specified by the address register will get located in the main memory. Let us say this 120 gets located in the main memory, in which there is a content. The content is, let us say, 280. This content will get transferred to the data register. You know that every time either a read or a write operation has to be performed, the data register holds the operands before it is being sent to the main memory, or it holds the operand which has been accessed from the main memory. This is what the read operation. Yeah, read operation. If it is 101 in F2, then there is an operation performed, that is accumulator to data register. The contents of the accumulator will get transferred to the data register. 110. If it is 110, data register contents will get incremented. If it is 111, the program counter to data register will get performed. From the program counter to the data register, contents will get transferred. In F3, 000, there is no operation. If it is 001, an XOR will get performed in between the contents of accumulator and data register. Finally, the contents, needless to say, will get transferred to the accumulator. If it is 010, a complement operation will be performed on the contents of the accumulator. You know what is complement? Complement is just nothing but one's complement. In the one's complement, 0 will get converted to 1 and 1 gets converted to 0. And the rule for the complement is r power n minus 1 minus n. This is for complements. This rule makes 0 to 1, 1 to 0, which has been explained in one of my data representations class. If it is 011, a shift left operation will be performed on the contents of the accumulator. If it is 100, a shift right operation will be performed on the contents of the accumulator. If it is 101, the contents of the program counter will get incremented. If it is 110, address register contents will get transferred to the program counter. If it is 111, no operation, but it is reserved. If why this reservation has been made. What is the difference between no operation and a reservation location, rather a reserved location? Most of the times when a combination in a specific function is not used, then it comes under no operation. But what is this reserved? When you say this is reserved, in future, if we want to update our microprogram, at that time, we may send one more micro operation in 111. This 111 may be loaded with one more micro operation whenever we update this microprogram. That is the reason why it is called reserved. Okay, this is all about the micro instruction format. The first three fields holds 3 different micro operations. Rather, they can hold a maximum of 3 different micro operations. It doesn't mean that every micro instruction is going to hold 3 micro operations. Sometimes they hold 000, saying that no operation is going to be performed. That is, we do have F1, F2, F3. All the F1 and F2, F3 need not be having some micro operation. Sometimes F1 doesn't have anything to perform. At that time, F1 will be equal to 000, meaning in F1 field, there is no operation. In F2, there might be an operation. Again, in F3, again, it will be 000. That means that every micro instruction can have a maximum of 3 micro operations. Okay, from 1 to 3, any number of micro operations we can have within a micro instruction. Now let us have a look at what are condition and branch fields. Condition CD. When CD condition field is 00, the condition is always 1. You know that even the unconditional branches also treated as the conditional branches. For that, we are going to watch a flag which is always set to 1. For that, in the condition field, there will be 00. Whenever we want to take a branch without any condition, that comes under unconditional branch. At that time, the CD field is going to hold 00, meaning it's an unconditional branch, because we're going to watch a flag which is always 1 for making a branch, for taking a branch. This condition is always 1. The symbol is unconditional branch. Okay, 01, data register 15th bit. Let us understand how the branch is going to be taken. This condition field works in conjunction with the branch field. Let us say I want to take a branch based on the condition 01. What is 01? When 01 is specified in the condition field, the data register 15th bit is observed. That is indirect address bit. In the instruction register, obviously this is our data register right now. The most significant digit, that is the 15th digit, is a signed digit. If it is equal to 0, there is a direct addressing mode. If it is equal to 1, it is an indirect addressing mode. So the indirect addressing bit is equal to 1. That means that it's an indirect addressing mode. If the mode digit is equal to 0, that means that it's a direct addressing mode. Now some conditions, rather some branches, are going to be based on this data register 15 bit, which is a mode digit. If the mode digit is equal to 0, then no branch will be taken. If it is equal to 1, a branch will be taken. So the condition will be based on this data register 15th digit. If it is equal to 0, condition is not getting satisfied. If it is equal to 1, the branch will be taken since the condition is getting satisfied. Similarly, the other condition is accumulator 15th digit, which is a signed digit. If the signed digit is equal to 1, then a call will be performed, that is, branch has been taken. If it is equal to 0, the branch hasn't been taken. As simple as this. 11, the accumulator is equal to 0. That is, 0 value in the accumulator. Once again, the fourth condition field, if it is equal to 11, we will see if the accumulator content is totally 0. That means that we are going to watch a 0 flag. That is a Z flag. You know that within the flag register, we do have a Z flag. If the Z flag is equal to 1, that means that the accumulator contents are equal to 0. When the accumulator contents are equal to 0, then a branch will be taken. So the final branch, rather the final condition, which is equal to 11, when it is used in the condition field, a branch will be taken if the accumulator holds a 0. That means that if the Z flag is equal to 1, then the condition is satisfied. That means that the accumulator is equal to 0, then the branch has been taken. Otherwise, branch won't be taken. Okay. So the branch fields 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. 0, 0 is for jump. What is jump? Jump is an unconditional branch. Simply, we are going to skip a few lines of code, and then the micro instruction code is specified within the 7-bit address. To that address, a jump is going to be performed. 01 is a call. When you perform a call operation, the address will be transferred to the control address register. When a call has been made, obviously we don't take the next address. The next address, which is CAR +1, will get transferred to the subroutine register if the condition gets satisfied. If the condition gets satisfied, and then we are going to take a branch to the corresponding location, which is specified by the least significant 7 digits. Once again, let me show you. Let us say there is a call instruction. The call instruction to 280, let us say, but 280 is not possible because our control memory is just 128 words. So let us say in 20-second micro instruction, I do have a call instruction which is a call to 110th location, let us say. If the condition is satisfied, we'll go to 110, and CAR +1, which is 23, will get transferred to the subroutine register. Right? That is what depicted here. CAR +1 will get transferred to the subroutine register. if the condition is satisfied. Okay, if the condition is not satisfied, we are going to take the next address, that is CAR plus 1, to the CAR itself. That is, you know that the sequencer has 4 inputs. One is SBR, one is CAR plus 1, one is branch, and one final one is map. Okay, subroutine register value will be taken if we are returning from a branch. CAR plus 1 is taken when there is no branch. That is, when we execute 23rd instruction, let us say the next instruction is 24. Obviously, this is CAR plus 1 will be transferred to the CAR in order to execute the next instruction, since the next instruction that is needed to be executed, the very next instruction in line with the current instruction. Whenever there is a branch instruction, the branch address will be taken and the CAR plus 1 will get transferred to the subroutine register. So, during which, when a call has been made, CAR plus 1 will get transferred to the subroutine register. When a call hasn't been made, if the condition fails, CAR plus 1 will get transferred to CAR. So the sequencer allows the input of CAR plus 1 to CAR. Once again, in this slide, I would like to show you this one. Look at this multiplexer. This multiplexer is our sequencer. What are the inputs for the sequencer? The first one is incremental, CAR plus 1. Let us say 22, 23, 24, 25 are the micro instructions addresses at this point of period. 23 being executed concurrently. When 22 wants to make a branch to 25 and the branch has been taken, then 23, which is CAR plus 1, which is incremental, CAR has been incremented, and most of the time CAR plus 1 will be taken. Whenever there is a branch taken, then CAR plus 1 will get transferred to the subroutine register, because once after the branch is finished, we want to return. We have to return, during which the subroutine register's value will be given as an input and it will be enabled from this sequencer. Okay, now the sequencer receives 4 inputs: incremental, subroutine register, mapping, and branch address. The branch address will be taken if the condition gets satisfied. Branch address may not be taken if the condition is not satisfied. If the branch address is not taken, incremental value will be taken. If the branch address is taken, CAR plus 1 will get transferred to the subroutine register. This is the thing. If it is 10, it is just a return. The sequencer is going to receive the input from the SBR. SBR will be allowed from the sequencer by the sequencer to the CAR, because we are just returning from a branch. When a branch has been taken, a return has to be associated with a branch if it is a conditional branch. Okay, and then mapping. What is mapping? You know that every time when the instruction is being started, let us say in the computer system, a new instruction has to be executed. At that time, the opcode has to be executed. Opcode is going to perform an operation within the ALU. For performing an operation by the opcode is going to be mapped to a specific location within the control memory in which the actual opcode routines are placed. We have seen how the opcode is going to get mapped to the corresponding location within the control memory in the previous session. So 11 stands for mapping. Okay, so this is all about a micro instruction format. In the micro instruction format, we do have 3 fields: F1, F2, F3, each of which can specify one micro operation. So the micro instructions can specify a maximum of 3 micro operations at any specific point of period. With CD and branch fields specify 4 conditions and 4 branches. And CD and branch are going to work in tandem, work in conjunction. Okay, and mind you, once again, even if it is an unconditional branch, the control memory, rather the control unit, is going to treat as a conditional branch. If an unconditional branch has to be taken, then we will see the condition 00. That means that a flag which is always 1 is going to be checked, then a branch is going to be taken. Let us observe this: 00011011, unconditional branch, indirect address, sign bit of AC, 0 value in AC. If the conditions are satisfied, branch is going to be taken. Otherwise, branch is not going to be taken. In the branch field, again, 4 different branches are jump. Jump is an unconditional branch, during which we don't need to save CAR plus 1 in the subroutine, because an unconditional gem is not associated with a return. So CAR plus 1 will not get transferred to subroutine register. If the condition is not satisfied, CAR plus 1 will get transferred to CAR. But there is no scope because it's always an unconditional jump. At that time, a branch will be taken. And the branch taken, if the branch is not taken, CAR plus 1 will get transferred to CAR. Similarly, 0, 1 is a call, 1, 0 is return, 1, 1 is mapping. That's it for the class. Thank you.